What is the best clear for aluminum wheels? What are you planning to do? I mean, any type of automotive clear coat will work. I don't know if you're going to be clearing over the aluminum metal. Is that what you plan to do? Because I've never clear coated bare aluminum before. So if you're going to do that, I would probably, make sure it's really clean. Make sure you don't have any compound on it. Wash it down, degrease it. You got to be careful what type of degreaser you use, because sometimes certain degreasers will stain and will basically stain the aluminum. So just be careful on that. I'm not sure what you're doing if you're going to be painting the aluminum wheels. Like I got aluminum wheels on the Chevelle here. It's just polished aluminum center lines. And then there's aluminum on the Tesla, but they're painted. So if you're going to be painting them, any type of regular base coat, clear coat will do the job. This is painted here. When we paint these, we're basically just going to wet sand them all down and shoot some black base and clear coat, and they'll be good to go. I don't know. Maybe I'll do a fade on them. Maybe I'll do gunmetal in the center, and then black toward. I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I'm not sure. If I make some sort of device where I can spin my rim as I paint it, I'll be able to do a nice fade on it. But if you don't have anything that your rim can sit on and spin, like I did it with the motorcycle rims, because I created some sort of gadget. Yeah, I had a little stand that I created. It's in VIP, by the way, where I was able to fade the rims here, and this is what the fade looks like. I know it's not in the sun, but as you can see, we faded candy gold on the outside with black toward the center. You see that? It looks really good in the sun. But anyway, yes, clear over polished metal for protection. Well, if you're going to be clearing over bare metal, make sure it's really clean. I would, use wax and grease remover or spray away to clean it really well, tack it down, and then you could use a regular polyurethane automotive clear coat and just go over it. You could definitely do it. As long as it's clean, you're not going to have a reaction. So just do it. Just do it, man. I don't think you're going to have an issue. Do sealers have to be sanded? It depends. If you're using a primer sealer, yes, it's recommended you have to sand it, and that's what I do. If you're using a 1K sealer, where it's just you could buy it. It's my favorite type of sealer is a 1K sealer. Comes in a can. You just mix it up, strain it. Sometimes you got to add a little bit reducer, most times not. Mix it up and you just spray it on. You let it dry. You let it flash, let it dry. Okay, same terminology, and then you just spray right over it. But if you're using that type of sealer, no sanding. Okay. Danny says, body filler over bare metal or over epoxy primer. So many different opinions in my research. So it doesn't matter. Okay. If you want to do the bare metal, you could do it. If you do it over primer, you're going to have to scuff the primer with at least 80 grit anyway to body fill. Here's what you could think about. If it is a big damage and you have a lot of damage area that you're working on, okay, so let's just say that I'm working on my Chevelle fender here. Okay, let's just say I'm working on the fender and I have a lot of exposed metal area. Say this whole thing was pushed in here. I jacked it out. Okay, I got it pretty much flat, and I have to do body filler across this much of the car. I would definitely go down bare metal. Okay, bare metal it. This way you got your body filler sticking to the bare metal. You do your shaping, you do your body work, and then you prime it. Okay, prime the whole thing. Then you block it out, see where high and low, whatever. If you got to add more, you can add more. If you're dealing with something very small, okay, you could just grind it down and body fill it. Okay, you can grind it down over the paint. You don't have to go to metal. And I show you this in VIP. So it's personal preference. you're really at the end result, you're not going to get a different result on how it looks after it's properly painted. But to me, the larger the area, I go bare metal. If it's a small little dent or small little nick or whatever, you could go over primer. You could shoot it with primer first, and then you could just scuff it and body fill it. So it's really up to you, Danny. And Danny, if you're a total newbie on this, I definitely go to learnautobodyandpaint.com. Download that free PDF guide that I give away. We have given away a lot of copies, and that was revised about a year and a half ago. So it's pretty new as far as the content in there. And, Autobody, the methods in Autobody really don't change. It's been the same for 30 years. Some of the products change, but, the methods on how to get it done, pretty much the same. Okay. Hopefully that helps. You can also check out radspaintformula.com. I'm going to post the link. Can paint that's been mixed be used again later? Absolutely yes, for base coat, right? As long as you're mixing and reusing a paint that you never added any type of catalyst, hardener, activator, then you're fine. Clear coats, if it's mixed, you can't use it for later. Single stage, if it's mixed, you can't use it for later because it's going to dry. It's going to cure, right? The only thing you can use for later is our base coats. Okay, if you're spraying any type of base coat and you have extra in your gun or whatever, you can just pour it back in the can and just remix it at a later time. And I talk about this a little bit. I talk about this a little bit in Rad's Paint Formula when it comes to the mixing section in Rad's Paint Formula. So we go over it. I mix paints in Rad's Formula. Rad's Paint Formula. I show you the different mixtures. I show you the consistency of paint. And a lot of guys really love that mini training series, a 5-day mini training series. You guys can get it for free at radspaintformula.com. And I think it's right here, right there, radspaintformula.com. If you look on the video right now, you'll see the URL. What temperature is it too hot to paint in? So if you're going to be spraying in a garage, not a controlled environment, I know in Texas, I used to live in Texas for many years. It gets very hot. Most of the time, you're just going to be sweating your butt off, especially if you have a paint suit on and whatnot, your mask. Sometimes you got to be careful because as you're painting across a hood, you're sweating so much, your sweat comes through the export section, the export valve on your mask, and could land in your paint. Happened to me a few times many years ago, But I would say 90, 95 is pretty hot. Okay, you definitely can paint. I wouldn't recommend it. I would start painting early in the morning if you guys live in hot locations where it gets up to 100 during the day. Most of the times at night, it could be in the 80s, depending on where you are. Sometimes it's down in the 70s, 60s, 50s, but then during the day, like I remember in Dallas, we would have 70 degrees during the night, and then it could go up to 100 during the day. You got a big change during the day. So if it's going to be like that, then make sure you're painting in the morning. Be ready 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning. Start painting in the morning when it's cool. But I would say stay away from painting around 95 to 100. If you could be in the 90s, that's pretty much borderline. 92, 93, borderline. Ideal paint weather, 80s, ideal. You can go as low as 60 degrees, 55. Okay. I wouldn't go painting in less than 55 unless you have a heater in your garage. You can get it a little bit more in the 60s and 70s. That's kind of pretty much where you want to go. Does that help, Aiden? And how do you feel about painting over rattle can primer? It depends on what type of primer you're using with rattle can. So I'm not fond of a 1K rattle can primer. I like a 2K, but you can paint over a 1K. All right. The thing is if you have a 1K rattle can primer, be sure not to wipe it with a wax and grease remover because it's a little strong and it will literally melt your 1K primer with your rag. Okay. I would definitely use a glass cleaner if you have but just hit it really quickly. You don't want to spend too much time on that area because it will melt it. If you're going to be doing a 2K primer, then no problem because they do have 2K. I shot some base coat, but after 20 minutes, it still had a gloss look. Doesn't look like it was flashing. What the hell could cause that? I'm not sure. That just seems odd. I'm sure I've never had that issue in my 25 years of painting. Base coat usually dries. It's supposed to dry. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, it could still have a semi-gloss look, but be dry. Did you mix reducer with it? Aiden, you want to let me know what paint system you were using? Just kind of give me some more information on that. What paint system were you using? Sherman Williams makes good paint. Nason makes good paint. DuPont, House of Color makes good paint. There's a lot of brands out there you could try out. Sir, it dried, just had a semi-gloss look. Yeah, semi-gloss look is fine. That's fine. You can spray clear coat right over that. As I'm not a pro yet, just asking the average time it takes to paint a car. Well, base coat, clear coat, 90 minutes to 2 hours in the booth, single stage, usually an hour. You should be done painting. And if you got custom work, you're doing custom stuff, you could be in the booth, I don't know, 2, 4, 5, 6 hours, depending on what you're doing. The Tesla's probably going to be a pretty interesting day because I'm going to be doing candies and fades and all that. Probably going to be a 5 hour paint job, give or take 4 to 5 hours, I would think. How to deal with pull deep dents. Why don't you have access to the back panel when you don't have access to the back panel? So you could use a stud welder and just weld those pins in there and just pull them out. And we show all of those strategies as well at learnautobodyandpaint.com. Guns, and all these guns come with the Gun Bud ultra lighting system. And I've painted cars completely in a black garage with this, full paint jobs, and it come out excellent. Really, really cool. No shadows. You can see exactly what you're doing for fading, candies, pearls, flakes, whatever you're doing, or even blending. It's an amazing little gadget. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. I'll be back next week, Tuesday, same time. And thanks for tuning in. All right. Peace out. Have a good rest of your week. And I'll see you later.